Welcome back to Space Ghost and our Sorceress of Cyba-3. We're on Chapter 2, Journey to Cyba-3. So, in last we've met, we picked up the princess, and and the space monkey suspects something, and I can't help but just call the space monkey Gleek, and I know that's not the space monkey's name, but we'll get there. Okay, so this is the Phantom Cruiser as it is taking off from wherever they were. I think they were looking for rocks or something. Okay. Now we're 9 light years, but the distance is without meaning to the Phantom Cruiser. Would have been a better name for episode, whatever that one. Not the Phantom Menace, but the Phantom Cruiser. Okay, anyway. So there's Jan and Jace. Okay, I got to get that right now. So what's the matter, Jan? Jay's fine. We're twins. How come you're hoarding private worries? What? Okay, so this is maybe a little bit out of context here, but that's cool. So there's a stab of pain going on because we know that the princess grabbed Jan's hand, so she would have some post hypnotic suggestion to say you can't tell Space Ghost about what's going on, or you're gonna get it. All right, so that's what's happening here. The stab of pain touched her palm. She clenched a tight fist against it and shook her head. That's all, Jace. Please don't tell Space Ghost that I'm a coward. Okay, I won't, man. Gee, what's with you, man? Okay, so that's what's going on here. And so while in the front of the Phantom Cruiser, Space Ghost has questions for the Queen. I thought she would. Oh, I said princess. She's a sorceress, queen. Okay, let's call her that. So, Space Ghost has questions. Space Ghost is trying to figure it out because Space Ghost, I think part of Space Ghost knows something is amiss here. All right, so Space Ghost has questions, and Queen Centauri, Satanari, replies. Ooh, she's trying to put her wiles on Space Ghost here, but we know Space Ghost. I think we know. It's not going to work on Space Ghost. Okay, so something about their information center sent a socio-economic report. Sounds like they have a basis for a fine democratic system of government rather than tyranny. And the Queen's like, no, that's not true. They're fooling you. And Space Ghost's like, well, I'm reading this report here. It says things are okay. Everything's looking good here. So what? Why are we taking you again? No? Oh, okay. We don't know. Okay, we don't know. And the Queen's like, you must believe me. I mean, this is a perfect portrayal of the Queen here. She learned Space Ghost. Her eyes were pleading. It's more than that. It was as if they were holding Space Ghost and reaching to the very center of his mind. But as we know, there's not much in Space Ghost mind. That comes later. Okay, you must believe me, friend. Those who speak as my people are the intimidators. They are alien forms. They assume the look of conquered peoples to keep their own conquest secret from you. And such a great defender of freedom. So the sorceress is up to something. She's describing exactly what she is, but doing the opposite of that. But Space Ghost speaks. We don't know who Space Ghost is speaking to. But Space Ghost hears some scuttlebutt. That's what Space Ghost is about being a cyber group. It's that someone in the black arts a sorcerer. It's like, so Space Ghost it's quite clear Space Ghost knows what's going on. Why is he falling for this? He should not be taking the sorcerer to the planet because he knows it's a scuttlebutt. But the Queen's like, I don't know what the Queen. The Queen is like she's saying, yes, of course I'm the witch. Yeah, but Space Ghost speaks. And Jan protests. What is Jan protesting? He's planning to celebrate your homecoming with a Halloween party. Now, Jan was looking over her brother's shoulder. Her hands were clenched tightly together. You shouldn't talk that way about the Queen, Space Ghost. So Jan's so Space Ghost and Jace here are just not quite getting it. And they're like, what is wrong with Jan? This doesn't make any sense here. So here's the ride. Space Ghost tossed her a quick smile. saying, "Oh, of course, Jan, you're right. It was just a wild joke." And rising with the sweeping grace, the Queen Satan places an arm around Jan. But Jan is woman enough to see through the pretenses of another female. She laughed. If, if I were not what I say, I'm sure that she would have been the first to realize it. Ha ha! I see what you're doing here, sorceress Satan. So there we are, and Space Ghost smiles. Jan, we're gonna get through our trip, and old Jace here is I don't know what's going on in his head. I'm gonna leave alone that they have to have their mask on all the time. Okay, this is fun. Here we go. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 2. I've done enough. So chapter 3, when next we meet, a warning to Jan. All right. Until next time we meet, we're gonna do it again. Oh, and enjoy my next gen particle fountain card. That's my bookmark. All right.